Xbox, Team Ninja, working with Wolong Fallen Dynasty, bringing it over to Xbox Game Pass. We have some more information on the game and their thoughts on Xbox Game Pass, and Xbox announces a brand new controller. All right, guys, before we get into this, I see many of you are new here. If you are new to the channel, you enjoy what you see throughout this video, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Trying to hit 10K subscribers by the end of the year. So if you like what you see, join the community. Let's talk games. One of the biggest, most exciting announcements at the Xbox and Bethesda showcase this year was that Team Ninja's new game, Wolong Fallen Dynasty, was going to be making its way over to Xbox Game Pass on day one. And I guess also exciting that the game is just coming over to Xbox, because if you remember their last big games in the Neo series, those were exclusive only to PlayStation. Now, Team Ninja and Xbox have had a pretty decent relationship over the couple of generations, Xbox and Xbox 360. The Xbox One, not so much, with games like Neo only being on PlayStation. But if you remember, Team Ninja has made many exclusive games, particularly only for the Xbox platform, with games like Dead or Alive and games like Ninja Gaiden. And both of those series were huge hits back on Xbox, especially the Ninja Gaiden series. You can actually go play those right now via Xbox Game Pass. They are incredible games. If you do enjoy action hack and slash style of games that has a pretty high difficulty, I would definitely recommend going and checking them out. But their next game, their next biggest one here, is Wolong Fallen Dynasty, which is actually one of two games. They actually also announced another exclusive game, but this time for Sony, which is Rise of the Ronin. So it's really interesting here what Team Ninja is kind of doing, putting an exclusive game on PlayStation, but then putting another game into Xbox Game Pass on day one, which will obviously be a big draw for the service itself. Now, first of all, Wolong, they are putting it in the category of the Masocore genre, which is more for 2D platformers. If you ever played games like Celeste or Spelunky, those are Masocore style of games, and that's what they're kind of going for here with Wolong Fallen Dynasty. Now, this is an interview between Team Ninja, particularly Fumihiko Yasuda and Masaki Yamagiwa, and they talk about what they're going for the game, what's going to be involved with it, as well as their reasoning for putting it onto Xbox Game Pass and whether games like Neo will ever make itself over to the Xbox platform. So first of all, Neo, from what we are seeing right now, what we're hearing, there's also a demo you can go try out and download. Sounds like it's going to be a pretty awesome game. It is, again, coming from a really talented team at Team Ninja who makes really great action games. If you've ever played the Neo series, it is a ton of fun. If you've played Souls styles of games, this is going to be a game that's right up your alley. One of the things I like to focus on is the difficulty of the game and tuning it so that it is just right. So you kind of fear the difficulty, but there's nothing that is making you feel like the game is cheating you out of progressing. When you make a mistake, you know that's you that made the mistake, and you got to figure out how to overcome the mistake next time you go to that same area. They talk about how Elden Ring has been just a massive game and how that has dominated the conversation, but Wolong Fallen Dynasty isn't going to be the same as Elden Ring. It's not going to be this massive open world where you're continuously going out and adventuring and finding new things. It's going to be more concentrated in stages, more linear, and you're going to have a lot more action within each of these stages, which honestly is something I'm pretty happy to hear. Elden Ring is great, don't get me wrong, I love it. It's a great, huge open world where you can spend hours just exploring and exploring. But when you have a limited amount of time and you just kind of want to play through one of these styles of games, having the more focused mission-based style of gameplay is something that's going to be easier to jump into and probably not feel as daunting, where you think that in any way to progress, you're going to have to sit down for like 5 hours, which is one of the things with Elden Ring that I found is that if I had an hour to spare to play a game, I couldn't really play Elden Ring because I feel like I would have accomplished absolutely nothing within that 1 hour. They go on to talk about one of the coolest systems that I think is going to set this game apart from other Soul Styles games. That is their morale system. So the morale system is basically you're going through, you're taking on enemies. The more enemies you defeat, the higher your morale goes. The more you die, the lower your morale goes. But as you get your morale to certain levels, you get extra abilities like magic, and it really will help you progress through the game. So you have to kind of choose the path that you want to go, whether that is going to the left and taking on this massive enemy with the chance that you're going to beat him, increase that morale, make your character stronger, and then make going further past that point easier. Or if your morale is at a point right now where you think it is good enough to continue to progress through the game, just kind of avoid that enemy and go to the right and make sure that you're not losing morale going forward. They specifically mentioned magic and getting access to magic, which they are calling wizardry spells, which is going to be linked to when you get your morale to a certain level, which will obviously really help you progress and take on enemies. But if you're dying and you already have Magic, you're going to be losing the ability to use Magic. So it really seems like it's going to be a lot of strategy with Wolong Fallen Dynasty. Now, a few other things they do talk about here basically is just about this genre potentially becoming stale, because we are seeing a lot of games within this genre. I mean, Lies of P is another one that is coming out. We saw the release of Steel Rising, and we're seeing more indie developers take on these types of games to put them out because they know they are very popular. And there's just a lot of stuff you could do with these games, a lot of creativity with the enemies that you're able to create. And if you create a game that kind of gets people feeling that it is a more unique take on the Souls style of games, is probably going to be a massive hit. So it's up to the developers to be able to go out there and add new features to make these games unique when they are released, so it's not always the same type of thing. And they mentioned that basically saying it's up to us, the developers, and that's where something like the morale system comes in that is going to really set Wolong Fallen Dynasty apart from other games. Now, one of the big things is there going to ever be a new Ninja Gaiden game coming from Team Ninja, and they talk about it here basically saying that they know that fans want it, they know that they are happy that fans love the Ninja Gaiden series, and they would eventually consider bringing it back, but it's about when and how, and making sure that when they do decide to bring Ninja Gaiden back, they're doing it correctly, which is fine. I mean, if they're going to bring Ninja Gaiden back, because I'm a big fan of those games too, is that I don't want them to just put it out there and then it be disappointing. I want it to come back big, and I want it to come back strong. Now, obviously, the biggest thing here for the Xbox platform is the fact that this game is coming over to Xbox Game Pass. It is releasing on everything else. It is releasing on PlayStation, but if you have Xbox Game Pass, you're playing this on day one. And here is what Yasuda says specifically about the game releasing into Xbox Game Pass. We're very happy that so many players are going to have the chance to try out a Team Ninja title potentially for the first time with Wolong, but just because it's on Game Pass, we haven't gone and changed XYZ. That's not really something that we've done on the dev team side. We just wanted to make Wolong the best game it can be, and we hope that fans can play it or new users can play that and enjoy it. We don't want to change it for a specific audience or something along those lines, which is great. I mean, I think that's a big thing when it comes to Xbox Game Pass, that maybe some developers think that the gamers who are signing up to Xbox Game Pass want, which is making a game that will, I guess you could say, fit within the subscription service. But I don't think that is a good strategy going forward for developers when they're putting games into the service. They just got to make those games. And if they're good games, if they're fun games, people in Game Pass are 100% going to be checking them out. We've seen the numbers come out where people play more games that they've never tried out before. And it's great that this style of game is dropping in to the service, because I don't think there is another one similar to Wolong Fallen Dynasty that we are going to be getting other than Lies of P, which is also going to be coming over to Xbox Game Pass. So this is a very popular genre, and we're going to be getting two huge styles of these games into Xbox Game Pass. He also talks about here about the community of Game Pass and the fact that when you put it into the service, there is instantly all of those people that are able to play it, which helps increase the online community and gives you people to play with instantly. I mean, that's a massive thing too with Xbox Game Pass, whether it is a co-op game, a multiplayer shooter, a looter shooter, any of that type of stuff. You put it into Game Pass and you don't really have to worry about not finding people online to play with. You're instantly going to have a ton of people jumping in and playing, which I think is one of the biggest benefits of the service. Now, Xbox and Japan. We know Xbox is trying very hard to grow in Japan. And it's funny because, like I said, Team Ninja, back on the original Xbox, back on the Xbox 360, had exclusive games to the platforms. And I would say those generations didn't do any better than what Xbox is doing right now in Japan. I think Xbox is going to surpass the Xbox 360 in terms of the amount of consoles sold there and the amount of people playing. In fact, I think there's going to be a lot more people playing Xbox in Japan by the end of this generation, simply because of Xbox Game Pass and the cloud and being able to play on many different devices. Yasuda talks about this. He talks about Xbox in Japan and the platform, what he is seeing, and he says here, we do feel there's a bigger presence for the Xbox platform in Japan. We're definitely seeing that here, and we think that Game Pass is helping a lot more people get acquainted with the Xbox platform, and a lot more people are coming in and playing games and being part of that, which is, I mean, great to hear from Team Ninja themselves, who would have firsthand experience as to how Xbox is faring in Japan. Obviously, it's nowhere near other platforms like the Nintendo Switch, which he even mentions here. He doesn't even mention the PlayStation 5, but says Japan seems to be pretty dominated by Nintendo consoles and the Switch, which is 100% true, obviously, but we always like to look at PlayStation and Xbox and them competing in Japan. Yes, PlayStation does well too, but the Nintendo Switch is completely dominating everything over there. And that's why I really do believe that Game Pass, mobile, cloud, all that type of stuff is going to be a really big competitor in that market if they're able to get enough games in there that gamers in Japan want to play, and if the cloud service works well pretty much when you're on the go, when you're at home, all that type of stuff in Japan. And then finally, we know Neo didn't come over to the Xbox platform, and they officially say here there's nothing really going on with that. Pretty much no possibility that Neo will ever come over to the Xbox platforms, which is unfortunate. I believe Neo was a Sony Interactive Entertainment funded game, and I'm sure they put something in that clause, and they're continuing to update whatever deal they have going on to make sure that that game doesn't come on to the Xbox platform. And I mean, they're going to be doing it again with their next game coming from Team Ninja that they have the exclusivity for, which is the Rise of the Ronin, which I think they just recently showed off at the latest State of Play. So lots of interesting stuff here from Team Ninja and Xbox and Wolong Fallen Dynasty, but it's cool to see that they are kind of bringing that relationship back with Xbox, a relationship that is there, has been there for a long time, fell off a bit during the Xbox One generation, which I think a lot of relationships fell off because of how poorly that generation was for Xbox One in general. And we'll see how this game turns out. There is a demo, like I said, so make sure to go check it out if you're interested in Wolong Fallen Dynasty. And quickly here, I just wanted to show this off. There is a brand new controller that has been announced by Xbox. It's another one of those camo style controllers. They've actually had a couple of different of these camo styles. They've had the Night Ops, the Arctic camo, and the Day Strike camo. And now they're releasing this one here, which is called the Mineral Camo Special Edition, which has mineral blue, bright purple, aqua, and dark purple camouflage pattern. You can see it here. It looks pretty cool. I actually do like the design of this one. It's probably one of the better looking camo ones in my opinion. I like just kind of the mix of the colors that they have going on here. And it's available right now for $70 MSRP. You can go pick it up. They're also releasing a stand in partnership with Razer. So there's the Razer Universal Quick Charging Stand specifically for this controller here. You see it has the same design, and that stand itself is going to be $50. I mean, I think that's kind of a steep price for a charging stand, $50, and then $70 for the controller. But I feel like with these Xbox controllers, they drop in price pretty fast. There's always sales on them. It's just another style, another color to the collection of Xbox controllers, which I mean, there's so many, and then it's always hard not to buy all of these different styles and colors because they do release some pretty good looking styles of Xbox controllers. But yeah, just another one here, the Mineral Camo Special Edition. That's it from me, guys. What do you think about that interview with Team Ninja's comments, particularly talking about Xbox Game Pass and the relationship with Xbox and how Xbox is doing in Japan right now? And what are your thoughts on that new Xbox controller? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. If you're new here, you liked what you saw, consider hitting that subscribe button to help this channel grow and help grow this community. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for your support, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.